Today we're talking to my new friend, Rachel. Rachel is an Enneagram 7. Rachel is an entrepreneur through and through, and she is the owner of Rose Lois Coffee. She is a single mom to 2 young girls, ages 6 and 8. In this episode, it was really interesting to me because I could hear the future focus in her time orientation. And she tells the story of when her fear of traveling with her kids, when that finally subsided and she took a brave step to do that. I think you're going to learn a lot about the Enneagram 7 and the need to always have lots of options and how that can sometimes be kind of hard when you're dealing with young kids. So enjoy Rachel's stories and her perspective on raising up the next generation. This is 9 in 9, Enneagram Wisdom for Life. Let's dive in. All right, Rachel, tell me about your kids. How old are they? Girls, boys?
Yes.
Paint the picture.
My oldest is 8. Her name's Anna Lois, and she is so emotionally mature, observant, and insightful. She says the most profound things. And then my 6-year-old is Amberly Rose. She is spill your candy at the door, doesn't know a stranger, absolutely just butterflies and unicorns and just bubbly and so much fun to be around.
Does your coffee shop have anything to do with your girls?
Yes, of course, as I was creating my business and thinking about my why, I was like, my girls, I started my company to be the kind of parent I wanted to be and have the flexibility as a mom. And I do think drawing on that really, really driven part of me and needing an outlet of, I think if I did try to be a stay-at-home mom for a year and I was so depressed, but then also I did want to be the one to take my girls to school and pick them up every day and hear about their day and do the fun things and plan the trips and all of that. So I needed the flexibility.
The 5, the 6, and the 7 fall into the triad of wanting security and safety and stability. How does this impact you as a mother?
I think one of the big things is I've been so afraid to travel with my daughters by myself. That was just this really big obstacle for me that I was really aware of because in general, as a 7, loving to travel, loving new experiences, that wouldn't scare me. There's so many things that I would do and they would not scare me at all. And, but I think feeling that level of lack of safety has played out for me.
Yeah. What was the turning point for when you decided to take them on vacation the first time?
Yeah, it was New Year's Day just this year, and I was asking them, what were your favorite highlight reel of the last year? What do you want to do more of this next year? And they said travel. And so it's kind of like, well, you have another week till you go back to school. We could go somewhere today. And so we booked an Airbnb treehouse. So we went home. We were at Smoothie King having smoothies. We went home. We threw our bags together and jumped in the car and drove.
So you just were like, okay, we're doing this.
Ripping off the Band-Aid.
I love it.
So that was our first driving trip. And then the girls really wanted to fly. And so I also, probably a week later, booked our trip that we just got back from last week.
How does fear play a role in your life as a mom?
I definitely, having grown up in a home with financial security, I worry that I'll never catch up. I worry of, what college looks like, retirement looks like, feeling, I think, I've taken a maybe more non-traditional route. And so talking with other business owner friends, we always say well, things can change quickly. Things can get really bad and really hard quickly, but they can also get really good and really successful. The payout can happen quickly.
Yeah.
And so I think that high risk situation, I think I'm going more that route than a corporate job that's maxing out my Roth IRA every year.
Sure.
And so, but I do feel anxious and afraid of, making the things happen for them that I want to.
Yeah. That kind of highlights your future-oriented time frame too, because you're talking about fears that are many, many years, down the road, which is a very natural thing for a 7 to do, being that in the future,
Can feel that.
in the future-oriented space, So what is the best thing about being a 7 when it comes to being a mom?
I think that as a child, you want to experience the world with joy and have a childhood and not have the pressures and stressors that adults carry. And so, yeah, maybe leaning into that's already my default. I don't want to focus on the pain of being an adult and the hard part. There's parents that are trying to shield their children from the world, and then there's parents that, strap their children on their backs and say, "Let's go," and viewing it as an adventure and wanting to equip them for life and expose them to those things while they're with me under my roof.
What's the hardest part about being a 7 as a mom?
It's like someone could be giving my children a safety talk and it could be totally appropriate. And it would be like really hard for me because it's like, I don't want to acknowledge to them kidnapping or, anything dark in the world. But I know that safety talks are obviously so important, but like that is hard for me. I don't even want to acknowledge to them that those things happen. I want to shield them from that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you ever find yourself having a hard time being present?
definitely. Probably all the time. That would be intention for me.
What would you say to other moms who are 7s? What kind of tips would you give as you've kind of learned how to be the best mom that you can be?
What I'm working on right now is allowing myself to be human and having a better voice. I already struggle with that in my romantic relationships when the people pleasing and like overcompensating kicks in. It's easy for me to let my children like run me. So having the boundaries, when we were at the beach, it was like I really thought we needed to call it a day. I thought they had gotten too much sun. I thought they were exhausted. I knew we were headed toward meltdowns, but they did not want to leave. And then like the next 24 hours, I paid for it, and like maybe that's fine. We were on vacation, but I I still that's not what I wanted a full day of the vacation to look like.
Yep.
I've had two close friends who witnessed my life as a parent very closely. Both of them say, you really gotta not give your girls all the options. And sometimes you need to just tell them what we're gonna do. And when I was like, I have to pay attention when multiple people in my life are telling me the same thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I heard a lot of 7 in that. I heard that you're giving them a lot of options because that's how your life works, of having the many, many variety of options is good. So being able to narrow that down for the kids so that would be a good thing. And then, it's like it's the pain of telling your kids no.
yeah.
When they really want something.
I hate it.
Yeah. And so it's this idea of like, okay, do I want to experience the pain of this moment of parenting where I have to tell them this is what we're doing, we're going in, or the pain later of now they have sunburns and they're miserable and everything. So that was a really solid 7 example of the hard part. Hey, do you need some free advice about raising up the next generation? I've got a 1-page document that highlights a piece of advice and wisdom from each of the women this month.